I will tell you that a major majority of my business over the course of my career have been from open houses. Um, I find them to be very successful. And I'm finding now that because of the internet and so many people interacting on their smartphones, that they're actually coming to the open house because they have interest in the house, and we're starting to sell houses from open houses. Back in the day, it was kind of a Venus flytrap for buyers, right? Buyers came in, they checked the house out, they didn't really know any information prior, other than, hey, there's an open house and maybe the price, right? But now we're seeing that they are actually coming to the open house because they have interest in that particular house, which is fantastic. So that's awesome. All right, so
That's
Christine, I'll
good.
give it a few more minutes here, right? We're still not even 11 o'clock. Okay, so just so you know, what we're going to do today is Christine is going to share her screen, and I'm hoping that that will keep me online here on Face with you guys. So just to start, I do see some names that I don't recognize, which means you probably don't know me as well. So I just want to introduce myself. My name is Kathy Pileggi. I've been a New Jersey licensed realtor since 2002. I've done the whole gamut: resale, new sale, commercial, leases, all kinds of fun stuff. And open houses are one of my favorite things. I've been with Keller Williams since 2015. I was the PC coach for 3 years. And now I'm just mentoring a couple of agents and just sharing with you guys some of the successes and failures that I've had. So go ahead, Christine. You want to put up the slide and see if I can stay on here?
Absolutely. I think that everybody, for them to see you and the slides, they have to not be in full screen view.
Okay.
So we'll give that a try.
Whatever works. And guys, this is audience participation. Please feel free to interrupt me at any time with any questions you have or any insights. This is kind of put together with Christine and I on my experiences with open houses and things that I've done. If there are things that you've heard other people that have done have been successful or not, please feel free to share at any time. Okay, we're all learning all the time from each other. So okay, so go ahead and hit that and see where we are.
1 second.
The beauty of live Zoom. Okay, we're getting there. Okay. Cool. Okay. All right. So preparing for the open house. Okay. I just want to tell you that I think was there a slide before that about starting the week before or the. Nope. Okay. That's all right. I'll just talk that way. Okay. All right. So my intention is to book my open house the week before. Okay. I pick the house that I'm going to do and I start preparing. The first thing that I do is I have a conversation with the homeowner to go over the procedure and the guidelines Okay. And as you can see here, what to remove from the house. So I'm going to have the conversation with them. I'm going to tell them that I'm going to be coming a little bit early than the open house to stage it. I'm going to go through a couple of things with them that are basic. However, I want to be there early so that I can make sure that the things that we've discussed have been taken care of. So here's some of those things. I don't care how bright and sunny it is. I want all the lights on in the house. Okay. I want doors cracked open. If you have washer dryer with the bifold doors, I want that open. I want all of your prescriptions, your money, your jewelry, your bills, any weapons or valuables put away. Okay. Even medication in a medicine cabinet, I would like to see that removed. Put it in a shoebox, put it under the bed, put it in a closet, something like that. Okay. Sorry to say these days, but prescription drugs are an epidemic, and I want to protect my homeowner and my clients, people coming through, as much as possible. Okay. So I'm going to have that conversation with them. Open the garage door, right? Anything that can be visible. My goal for these days during the pandemic is to have people feel comfortable coming in and not having to touch anything. I don't want them touching light switches because to see in a bathroom or anything like this. Okay. I'm also going to ask them to have hand sanitizer on hand. Okay. Excuse me, turn this off. And lost my train of thought on the phone there, Reagan. Sorry about that. Okay, so hand sanitizer, and we're going to request that everybody wear a mask. Okay. All right, so go ahead on to the next slide. So this is a 7-level open house that I'm doing here. Okay. I'm not going to just put the sign in the yard, which is a level 1. Okay. We don't do balloons anymore. This is an old flyer. I'd like to see something on the sign that's going to attract attention. I use American flags. Part of the reason that I do that is I buy the small ones, I tape them to the signs. It's something that I don't have to repeat every week when I do, like I did back in the day when you would buy balloons and tie them on, and they were nothing but a mess. I also find that people don't steal American flags. Kids would sometimes come by and take the balloons off of your signs, and you kind of lose a little momentum there. So I find that to be useful. There are people that do pinwheels as well, especially in the island communities, or they will do something that is seasonal. Maybe if it's in March, maybe some shamrocks from the dollar store or something like that. But I just like the American flags. Okay. So we do that, right? So now we're directional signs. Okay. We're going to get those out there as well, right? We're going to do flyers. I do flyers. I do a couple of different ways. I do a flyer to post on Facebook. And I also have my lenders do flyers for me so that they post it. And I'll also send it out to different people that maybe I think may have a buyer for that house or be interested in that house. And that will include other agents, and that will also include agents that are not Keller Williams. Okay. I want a successful open house. My goal is to sell that house and, possibly pick up a buyer or two for something else as well. I don't want to spend the 2 hours of my time sitting there doing nothing. Okay. Or reading a book. Or sitting on the couch. I want to be active. So this is why I start ahead of time with all of these things, right? I start a week ahead of time. So with my flyers, if I'm doing an open house on a Sunday, I'm posting that flyer 3 times on Facebook that week. Okay. I'm going to do it on a Monday. I'm going to do it on a Wednesday, and I'm going to do it on a Friday. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to walk that neighborhood. It's kind of iffy now. It kind of depends on where you are and where we are is with the COVID right now, whether or not you can do that. I do like to do that. What I would do is right now, I think I used to knock on the doors. I don't think I'm comfortable doing that right now. And I don't think other people are comfortable having a stranger come up to their door. So I would do the flyers. Everybody, or mostly everybody, has a doormat right at the front door. So what I would do is I would stick the flyer under the doormat enough so that it's secure. However, sticking out enough so that when they come home from work or wherever they are, they actually see it and can pick it up and read it. Okay. You can also get on the phone and call people, whether it be agents or the neighborhood or whatever. I'm not quite sure how we can always get those numbers, but that's something that you can do. And you can also, which is very effective, hook up with one or two other agents from the office or another office, doesn't really matter, that may have properties in your neighborhood that you're doing your open house, and do the open houses at the same time. Okay. So timing for open houses, right? I've been outside the box a couple times. I've done an open house on a Friday night. Um, Things are a little different now, right? Not everybody's going to work 9 to 5 kind of thing. So what I've done a couple times is I would do an open house on a Friday from like 4:30 to 6. Okay. This time of year, I don't know that I would suggest it. It's dark, but that works pretty well, like in the spring or the fall before with the time change. So you could do that as well. Um, Football season kind of goes either way. I've had people tell me they like to do open houses when the Eagles are playing. Somebody will come in, maybe they'll have the game on the TV. I don't know. I'm not a football player or not a football fan. So I've never really done one during football time because I kind of thought that those fans were sitting at home and not really going to go out. Does anybody have any experience with any of that? No? Okay. All right. Christine, go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay. So once again, we're talking about doing it ahead of time, right? The Sunday before. If you do not own this listing, you will have to ask the agent that has the listing to do these things for you. There are two things that you can do in Paragon. One is to go into the remarks section, not the agent remarks, the actual remarks section, and type in the date and time of your open house. Now, when you do that, you also want to make sure that the day after the open house or later that day, you take it out. Nothing says to me more that an agent is not diligent in taking care of their business when I see that they have in the remarks an open house that was in September and it's now November. Okay. So make sure that you put a note somewhere or whatever it takes for you to remember to go ahead and take that back out. The other thing you can do, there is an open house section in Paragon that you can put the date and time in and a couple of remarks about the open house. That will be on Paragon so other agents can see that and they can invite their clients. Once again, if you're not the listing agent, you'll have to have the listing agent do these things. Okay. So, have that conversation with them and get that done. And I do this, like I said, this Sunday before, because I want enough time to go by. So what happens is when you put it in the remarks section, that is going to auto populate out to all of the internet sites. So come Monday, people are going to see that you're having an open house next weekend. They can start planning around that. Okay. Gives more opportunity to get more traffic through the house. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so what we're doing also prepping, right? I check the weather. The reason I check the weather is twofold. One is what's it going to be like next weekend. If it's going to rain on Saturday, I may want to do it on Sunday. Okay. Then again, if it's summertime, it's going to rain on Saturday and I'm on the islands, I might want to do it because I can't go to the beach. Okay, so some of these things you have to think about specific to the season, okay, for the weather. The other reason that I check the weather is because there is a possibility that I might want to go out and do some sort of circle prospecting or maybe stand outside the hardware store and give flyers out, okay, something like that. So I want to check the weather because I want to see, if it's going to rain on Wednesday, I might have to do it on Thursday, kind of stuff. Kind of makes sense, right? Okay, so I can do digital and paper flyers. We can do it in designs. I'll be honest with you, I haven't mastered that yet. So most of my flyers I have created by one of my mortgage lenders. It's, less time more time for me to do other things. I don't have to worry about creating a flyer. Either one's very effective. It's up to your personal decision. No judgment there. Okay. So the other thing that I do is I go to the open house and I backtrack out to a main road to see how many signs I'm going to need and where I'm going to strategically place them. Okay. One of the things that I learned in the past, and I'll share with you guys, the island communities, not a lot of grass. So I went out and I bought a set of bungee cords. And what I will do is I will put my signs on a telephone pole and hold them up there with a bungee cord. The other thing too is it's easier to see for cars coming down, because in the summertime, it gets very crowded on the islands with cars. So if you have a sign that's on the corner, a parked car may be blocking that. Okay. So if you can get them up high, then that's, that's not such a bad thing. Okay. I also invite agents of recently sold properties in the area to my open house, or tell them that they can feel free to send a buyer to the open house. All they need to do is say that they're working with somebody else. I'm not going to take somebody else's buyer. I just want to get some traffic in there and get the house sold. Okay. So the way you can do that is you can go into Paragon, and let's just say I'm sitting here in Brigantine. Let's just say I'm doing my open house in Brigantine. I'm going to go into Paragon. Area is going to be Brigantine, recently sold within the past month. See what comes up and call those agents and let them know, hey, look, I saw where you had a buyer, or I saw where you sold your property. Here's my listing, doing an open house, come on and stop by. Okay. And I've had other agents do that for me. And I make sure that when they call me and ask me to stop by, that I do it. Okay. It builds camaraderie, and it also builds relationships with other agents, so that when they have a product, and they'll think of you and they'll call you ahead of time and say, hey, look, I'm getting this property is going to be on the market, or I'm going to reduce this price, or whatever the case might be. Okay. All right. So was there a question there? Oh, hold on. Let me see. I have a chat. Let's see if I can get it. Okay. Question. If you're doing an open house in a condo or townhome community, are there specifics with you putting signs anywhere? That's a great question. There are areas that will not allow you to put signs, any kind of sign, whether it be a for sale sign in a window or an open house sign. I've had people get away with that by putting an open house sign on their car. It's on the corner maybe of the community, pointing in or something like that. And just putting some flags or something on the for sale sign. But there are communities you may want to check with either the homeowner or the association if you're allowed to advertise the open houses. And to be honest with you, unless it was my listing, if I can't advertise it, I don't know that I would do it, to be honest with you. But thank you, Quinn. Good question. Any other questions before we move on? Okay. Okay, social media, we talked about this before, right? Monday, Wednesday, Friday, before the open house. I'm going to post it, and I'm going to ask my family and my friends to share my post, to work on getting as much activity as possible. I don't know yet if we can create a campaign for an open house, to see if we could do that on Facebook as a paid ad. However, I've just in the past have just done it, basically with mine and sharing it. And it's been pretty successful. So 3 times. Now, the other thing too is those 3 days, I'm going to do different times as well. I'm not going to do 9 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I might do 6 a.m. on Monday, maybe noon on Wednesday, and maybe the evening on Friday, because people are on Facebook at different times. Okay. Especially with everybody so many people working from home right now. I want to capture them when they're on a break. Used to be everybody would be on Facebook at lunchtime. That's not the case anymore. So play with it a little bit, think outside the box. Maybe you want to post it twice a day, and see what you can get. Yeah. You can never get too much free advertising. Okay. Go ahead. The next one, please. Okay, the morning of, I'm getting up early and I'm putting out my signs, because most municipalities will not allow you to put signs up the night before. Okay, I've seen them go around and take them down, and that's very frustrating, because not only do you lose your advertising for your open house, you might lose your signs as well, because if you put them out on a Friday and your open house isn't until Saturday, and the municipality comes by, they take them down, there's not going to be anybody there on the weekend to give you your signs back. Okay. So just get up early, put your signs out, put something on there that's going to be eye catching, so that the attraction is there. Okay. The more signs, the better. If you're on a main road of an intersection, I would put one on every corner. Okay. The other thing is, sounds really silly. However, I've done it. Make sure your directionals when you put them in the ground are pointing the right way. Okay. Nothing more frustrating when you go back to pick up your signs and you look and you did all four corners and maybe one of them's going the wrong way or maybe all of them. Okay. So make sure if you have directionals with an arrow that they're going the proper way. The other thing that you can do, I've done in the past, is get some wide painter's tape, and you can use a magic marker and put the address of the property on your signs as well. And then you just peel that off when you're done. I've also seen people do it like they'll print it up on the computer on paper and tape it onto the sign. Okay, that's a little bit more eye catching, and it's easier, you know, for people when they see the address, because sometimes if you're 3 blocks off a main road, okay, we have a tendency, because we know where we're going, to put signs too far apart, and people either get lost or they lose interest. So if you can put the address on there, it's something that you can do reusable. That would be great. I often thought of creating a sign. Somebody's probably going to steal my idea here, but create a sign that had, what's that, a whiteboard in the center, so you could write on it and erase it. One of these days I'll get around to doing that. Okay, so now at the open house, right, we need to make sure that we have stuff with us. Make sure you have the consumer information statement, your real estate license in your wallet or on your phone or something with you. You can either do paper open house sign-in sheets, or maybe on your iPad or a tablet or something like that. If you're going to do paper open house, what I'm doing these days is I'm taking the information from the client and writing it down instead of sharing all my pens and having everybody touch everything. I do put the paper on a clipboard to make it easier. However, you know, it's up to you how you do that. That's my thought these days. Once again, we're trying to have people touch as little as possible. According to the Real Estate Commission, we are supposed to supply hand sanitizer, or the homeowner. There has to be hand sanitizer at your open houses, and your broker opens as well. Okay. And everyone should be wearing masks. Okay. As a courtesy to the homeowners. I also have business cards with me that I give. I also have my business card on my phone as a photo, so I can share it with someone else. And I like to do that because now I need to have their cell phone number, right? So they have to give me the right one, or they just give it to me verbally right then and there, and I will share that with them. Okay. Go ahead and go to the next one, please. Okay, these are some examples of some sign-in sheets. I like this one. I actually designed this one myself because it provides information from the consumer, and it also provides feedback that I can give to the homeowner, right? So it's just, I kind of took this off the Showing Time like feedback sheet that we do. So, and also, you know, they can provide me with information. They can also provide me with what they're looking for, areas that they're interested in, okay, other than just their name, cell phone number, and email address. Okay, so that's one that I like. Go to the next one, please. This is a basic one. I don't even know where I found it. You know, just the basic information, and then how they find out about it, or what their, I'm sorry, I don't have glasses on, what their needs are, right? What are your current real estate needs? Are you looking immediately or further down the road? Whatever that case might be. Okay, next one, please. Okay, and then this is another one's designed by Keller Williams agent somewhere. Are you working with an agent? Are you looking to buy right now? What's your timing? Okay, so either one of these is good. You can design your own. There's 1,000 of them out there. If you go on YouTube and do open house sign-in sheets, everybody's got an opinion. One of the things that I do when the client leaves is on the back of the open house sheet that I'm using, I will put some notes on there. Maybe if they had kids or what their kids' names were, you know, something to help me remember them by. And then I put those notes in command later on. Okay. Okay. Next one, please. Okay. So when you get to the open house, okay, make sure that you're ready. So sometimes if a house has been vacant for a while and it's been closed up, it could be a little stinky. Okay. So you might want to take a candle or you might want to take some Febreze through the house or whatever and spray it up a little bit, maybe open a window for a little bit, turn on some ceiling fans, something to give it a little bit of life, okay? The other thing that I do when it's vacant is I have a little Bluetooth speaker, and I take that with me and I turn on some light instrumental music, like meditation music or piano or something, just for a little bit of background noise, okay? When we are at an open house that's vacant, and I know, I mean by nobody's living there, like empty, okay? Not, they're all gonna be vacant while we're there, right? You wanna add a little bit of noise so that not every little thing going on is heard and they're thinking, oh, this is not a nice, quiet kind of neighborhood kind of thing, okay? If the house is occupied, okay, I still bring my little speaker because I don't like to touch people's TVs or stereos or whatever they have going there. I just bring my own and just play it off my phone, okay? Any questions about any of that or any other ideas? People have bought flowers to kind of brighten it up a little bit or something seasonal, I do know there's a couple of agents who have like a stockpile of quote unquote open house stuff that they take with them, which would be something seasonal, a candle. Oh, and the candle guys, jar candles, please, because you may have a lit candle and you leave a room to talk to somebody or whatever. So make sure that they're jarred candles and nothing too crazy in a scent kind of thing. I usually use like a vanilla cupcake or, apple pie, something like that. Okay. All right. Next slide, please. Okay. Open house safety. I don't care who you are, guy, girl. I don't care how big you are, how small you are, whatever. Okay. We all have to be conscious of some safety rules these days because we live in a big, bad world, right? And regardless of whether or not the house is occupied, you're going to be the only one there. Okay. So a couple of things. When I get to the open house, I get there early. Okay. First thing I do when I go in is I lock the door behind me so that I can go through the house and prepare for the open house. Okay. So how do I prepare? I make sure all the trash cans are empty. I make sure the lights are on, if some ceiling fans, if we need to, heat, air conditioning, okay, all that good stuff, right? Toilet seats down, one of my biggest pet peeves, make sure the toilet seats are down, make sure that valuables are put away. If they're not put away, put them away somewhere, okay? All right, so I go through all of that, then I come back down and I will unlock the front door. Weather and season permitting, I like to sit outside on the porch if possible, or on the sidewalk. I will bring my own beach chair, okay, to sit outside there, so that if somebody's going by and they're kind of like seeing like slowing down and checking out whatever, I'll wave them in, right? Come on in, let's check it out, whatever the case might be, okay. The other reason I like to stay outside is so that I can see people coming, okay. If I'm inside, I'm going to be near a window or the front door so that I can see when somebody pulls up, or I can see them walking up to the house. I don't want to be caught off guard. Okay. The other thing is I keep the back door. I'm going out of order here, but I always keep the back door locked. Okay. If someone wants to go out into the backyard, they may. As soon as they leave, I go and I lock that back door again. Once again, I don't want to be surprised. I don't want somebody coming in, behind me and me not knowing that they're in the house. Okay. I stay on the first floor of a house. I don't go up to the second floor. I don't go down to the basement. I stay on the first floor. Upside down homes, that gets a little tricky, right? Upside down home is your kitchen and your living areas on the second floor, and maybe you're in a bedroom area or a vestibule. However, I still stay on that first floor. Okay. They got to go up, they got to come down, they got to get past me, right? They go down the basement, they got to come back up. Okay. I don't want to get myself cornered in a room. Okay. If they are upstairs and they ask me a question, I'll holler up the answer. And I mean, that might sound a little rude to you guys, but you just don't know. Okay. You just have to be safe. There have been some instances out there where agents have gotten hurt at open houses, and I don't want to be one of them. And I certainly don't want you guys to be one of them either. Okay. if it's somebody you know, I've been out and I've had buyers out, and I'm doing an open house on something, I call them, I invite them over and I know them. That might be a little bit of a different story. Okay. But if I'm there and you're new to me and you're coming in the house, then I'm going to hang on the first floor. Okay. I always wear something with pockets so that I can hold my cell phone and my keys. I leave my purse in the car. I don't bring anything in that if I had to leave that house, I would be hesitant to leave behind. Okay. So, for guys, this is pretty easy. Ladies, what I usually do is I usually wear a blazer over whatever I'm wearing, whether it be a dress or a suit. Okay. Do something like that. I also have a little, not a fanny pack per se, but something of that style that I use when I go out walking and I don't have pockets. So if I do have something at the last minute, doesn't have a pocket in it, I'll wear that so that my phone and my keys are on me at all times. Okay. I either park in the street, which is normally I do that unless it's a busy street and I can't, or I'll back into the driveway and I'll keep my car parked at the end of the driveway. Okay. I don't want to be blocked in by another car. Now, can they pull up in front of you and block the driveway? Absolutely. However, I'm going to give myself enough room to back up and just go out over the curb if I have to. Okay. And I'm hoping this doesn't sound too dramatic. And I'm hoping that we never really come to any of these terms. However, you just want to make sure that you're safe. Okay. All right. Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay. After the open house, fortunes in the follow-up. Now, the first thing I will tell you is when I back up here a little bit, when I lock the door to set up the open house, I also lock the door to break down the open house. Okay. So I go through, and anything that I did to open the open house, I will do to close the open house. Lights are on, lights go off. Closet doors are closed. What I want to leave that house as pristine as possible, even if it's vacant. Okay. So I do that. Then I leave. Then I go and get all my signs and everything. Okay. The house is the first thing that I take care of at the end of the open house. And I will tell you also, if the open house is 12 to 2, I'm there till 2:10. I don't leave at 2 o'clock. I don't leave at 1:45 because no one came. Okay. I always give those extra few minutes. I know of agents who have lost listings because their open house was a certain time frame. The homeowner came back early and they were gone early. Doesn't sit well. Doesn't sit well. So keep that in mind. Just hang out for a few extra minutes. Okay. And make sure that you're there at least 15 minutes ahead of time. Because once again, that's, it's advertised. Hopefully we did a great job and it's everywhere. Somebody could come early. Okay. All right. So follow up is key. Okay. So how do I follow up? I hopefully received the minimal information, which would be their cell phone number and their email address. Okay. So I can do a couple of different things. I can call them or text them and thank them for coming to the open house and ask them if there's any additional information that they need. I can email them a card through some of these sites that are free. I can mail them a thank you card if I got their home address. Okay. Very important to follow up with a thank you. Very, very important. I add the client into command and I put on a smart plan right away. The smart plan that I put them on is my bi-weekly for the area that the open house is on. Can also put them on a quarterly call. Okay. And based upon the conversation that you've had with them, you may want to do a different kind of smart plan. Okay. But I'm just giving you a kind of basic. We had just a basic conversation. We're not quite ready yet, whatever the case might be. Nosy neighbor. Okay. Just going to set them up bi-weekly and a quarterly call. Okay. I'm going to follow up with them on day 2, day 5, and day 7. Okay. That's if they don't answer me. So if I call you on day 2 and you don't answer, I'm calling you back on day 5 and I'm calling you back on day 7. I can also send them my app. And I also want to add them to a buyer notification email system in Paragon. Okay. Very important. Let's get, let's follow up with as much information for them as we can, keep them engaged as often as we can. Okay. Any questions on anything? Okay. The
Yeah,
fortunes of,
Kathy,
I'm sorry.
I have
Go
a
ahead, Mark.
couple. I have a couple quick questions.
Sure.
How much direction do you give them or information you give them as they're coming through the house? Do you pretty much let them see stuff on their own, and particularly with houses that have had rehab or had work done? How much information do you normally give the prospects?
Great question. Great question. And I learned this the hard way. When I first started doing this, I would greet them as they came in the door. Handshake, can't do anymore. Hi, I'm Kathy Pileggi from Keller Williams. What brings you to the open house today? Okay. Saw it on Zillow, fine, whatever. Then I would go into my spiel and I would give them a whole line of information about the house. Big mistake. Now they have nothing to ask me. There's nothing to engage them in conversation because I've already told them the price, the beds, the baths, whatever the case might be, right? So now what I do is I introduce myself, can't do the handshake, maybe we'll do the elbow bump or whatever. And I thank them for coming to the open house. How did you find out about the open house? Zillow. Fantastic. Just want to let you know, currently the seller is asking $349. Please feel free to walk around and let me know if you have any questions. Okay. They don't, you don't need to walk around. So this is the kitchen. It's obvious, right? This is the bedroom. It's obvious. Okay. So I just give them the price, ask them how they found out, let them go their way. When they come back, because, right, they've got to get past me to get out of the house, right? When they come back, do you have any questions for me? I will tell you that most of the time, the questions are going to be what is not immediately noticeable. What are the taxes? What's the lot size? What's the association fee if there is one? Okay, those are the three things that they're going to ask because it's not obvious. Okay, now these days there is the question of the paper flyer or not the paper flyer, right? Before the internet, a lot of times we would, print up 20 flyers and give it to them as they leave, right? Now I don't do that anymore. If they would like additional information, I would be happy to email that to you, or I will be happy to send that to you via my app, whatever the case might be. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. I mean, but there's things that are not obvious, like the house has had new plumbing, new electrical, 200 amp service, new hot water heater, new HVAC.
Okay.
Uh,
So you're
that
talking if something was rehabbed.
correct.
Okay, then yes, you could supply them with that information. Just, do you have any questions? Answer their questions, right? Because it's all about them, right? And then say, well, also I'd like you to know that boom, 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 boom. Okay, if that's the case.
So let them go through the house, and then on the way out,
Yes.
hit them with that information.
Yes.
Okay, two other real quick questions.
Sure.
How do you handle it? I've done a couple open houses, and it's usually feast or famine. So I'll get nobody for an hour, and then I'll get two or three people showing up at the same time, two or three groups showing up at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
How do you just try to direct them to different parts of the house? Let somebody see downstairs first, and then the upstairs, or do you make them wait?
Okay, great question. And due to COVID, I will make them wait. I'm sorry, I should have brought that up earlier. I will ask them to wait outside. I will only allow one set of people to go through at a time. And I also, want to keep that as limited as possible. I don't want a group of 6 people coming in, So, who's the buyer today is my question. Fantastic. Would you and your wife, spouse, whatever, feel free to take a walk through. The homeowners requested that we keep it, a limited amount of people in the house at one time. Okay.
Okay.
So now let's say we are normal. Okay. And I have had that happen. I had it happen last year when I had an open house on my own house. I had so many people in there at one time that people got away from me. And unfortunately, sometimes that does happen. However, if I can control it, I will. I'll say, Mark, you just came in. Hi, I'm Kathy from Keller Williams. Thank you for coming to the open house. We're asking $349 today. Please feel free to take a walk around and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Okay. Then I will turn to the next person. I will say the same thing. Okay. Or if I can, I will have that, see if I can get that information, contact information from them immediately. So, hey, so Mark, before you walk around the house, would you mind, give me your full name? What's the best cell phone number for you and what's the best email address? And capture that contact information before they go off in case I am busy with talking with someone else. However, I will stop someone. So if you and I are in conversation and Laura is getting ready to leave, I will say, Mark, excuse me a minute. Laura, is there any way I can help you? Do you have any questions? I will interrupt the conversation to try to capture someone else as well.
Right, just get them to do that feedback sheet before they leave. And get
Yeah, try to get it, if you've got a busy open house, I would be there with that clipboard as they come in, and I would get that contact information. So thank you so much for coming to my open house today. The seller has requested that you sign in before you enter the house, or as you come in, or whatever the case, whatever you want to say. Blame it on the seller.
Okay, and the last question is on buyer's leads. I've got a feedback card that says, are you working with a realtor? So if they select they're working with a realtor, that doesn't necessarily mean that they've got a buyer's agent realtor, but it doesn't mean that they don't either. So
Correct.
do we follow up with them as well? Just put a disclaimer in there, if you're working with a realtor, please disregard.
Well, how are you following up that you're doing a disregard?
Oh, I've got a card that I make them fill out on the way
Gotcha.
out with feedback with their information
Okay.
and what they thought were the main, similar to what you have. What did they like best about the house? What are they looking to buy? Are you working with a realtor? And there's like a checkbox.
And they
there.
say yes.
And they say yes. Do we just
Okay.
regard them as a buyer lead?
No.
Okay.
So I see here that you checked that you're working with a realtor. Are you happy with the services that they're providing you with? If they say yes, that's fantastic. Should that situation ever change, please feel free to contact me and I'll give them a card.
Okay.
Okay. No, I'm not really happy with this, with the services they're providing. Well, I'd be happy to assist you. When would be a good time for us to get together to discuss this further?
Okay.
Unless there's nobody else in the house and now is a good time. And then, carry on that. My intention is to carry on a conversation with someone as long as possible.
Gotcha.
To get as much information, to build rapport. It's very hard to build rapport with somebody if if they're in and out, right?
Mm-hmm.
People want to work with people they know, like, and trust, and they also want to work with people who are busy. Okay, because everybody else is working with that person. There must be a reason.
Right.
Right.
And I actually liked it when I had to 2 or 3 groups showing up at once. I guess that was good. They saw there was a lot of competition, and the couple houses I did went highest and best.
Right. Fantastic. One of the other things that I've done in the past, if you're doing an open house on a large home, say over 3,000 square feet, I'll ask one of my lenders to come to the open house with me.
Okay.
They can bring mortgage information, flyers, whatever they want to bring, and ask them to come and sit with me at the open house. Or if you're doing something that you feel is going to be very busy, ask somebody else, or even ask another agent to come with you.
Okay.
Okay. That way, you have a better chance of talking with people if there's 2 of you. What the mortgage lender can do is they can kind of stall somebody till you're available to speak with them.
Right. There's that fine line. They can't really show the house or sell it.
No, they can't show the house, but they can talk money. They
Okay.
can, talk interest rates, and everybody wants to know what the interest rate is, right? So
Sure.
they can do those kind of things. Okay.
Sure. Talk about being pre-qualified and the
Sure.
advantage,
Yeah,
etc.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. All right. Did you have another question, Mark?
No.
Did I answer them
You
fully?
did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any other questions? Any concerns? You ready to dive into open houses? Okay. I will tell you guys, the key is the preparation and the follow-up. Okay. I know, this is a numbers game, real estate. And sure, you could stick a sign in the yard at 11:45 for a 12 o'clock open house and maybe somebody will come. However, you have a better chance of more traffic and more qualified buyers, the more information you provide and the earlier you provide it so that people can make their plans to go to open houses. Now, there's also the possibility of newsprint too. Keep that in mind. If you wanted to do that, you could certainly do that. But I like to keep my expenses down. So I'd rather put the time in than the money, but it's entirely up to you and what you think would work. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Any
one
other
one
questions?
other comment I had this specific, a couple specific issues that came up, and um, I guess it's also about surroundings. So you want to make sure the neighbors don't have their dog in the backyard that's going to be barking every time somebody comes in and out. And if it's trash day, you want to make sure that they don't have their bulk trash, the other neighbors bulk trash or something sitting out on their front lawn that's going to make the neighborhood scary to the buyers. I've had a couple of objections because of that.
That's a great point, Mark. And I don't think that I would do an open house on trash day.
They had a sofa sitting outside,
They
and I got somebody to take it away for
Gotcha.
they
Yeah,
had it.
I wouldn't do an open house on trash day. And as far as the neighbors go, this is another reason why I'm starting out early, maybe circle prospecting and letting them know about the open house, possibly, meeting them, letting them know there's going to be a little bit more traffic coming through that day, or, whatever the case might be. I'm a very people to people kind of person. So some of these things I'm having a hard time dealing with because of COVID, that we can't be as social as I like to be. I, in the past, have picked up business from an open house from a neighbor because I talked to the neighbor or invited the neighbor over. That's another thing that you can do too, is you could do a separate flyer for the neighbors and invite them over maybe a half an hour before your open house to see. Maybe, kind of, I've done flyers in the past, help me pick your neighbor kind of thing, people seem to like that. Everybody's always concerned about who their neighbor is going to be, right? So if I give them a little bit of what they think is control over who it might be, could pick up some possible business that way as well.
Right, absolutely.
Okay.
I've done pretty well. I've been having them on Sundays, and I've limited it to like 2 hours, but I'll stay at 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after,
Exactly.
and just hit those people. But I've had in those 2 hours 20 plus groups of people
Good.
uh, going through. So
That's awesome. That's
yeah,
awesome.
no inventory, so
Right.
everybody's trying to buy.
Exactly. Yes, yes, they are. And everybody wants to be the first one in, right? So, like I said, just give them as much time as possible and build up that anticipation. You know, Friday nights, Saturday, Sundays, I've even had people that did them if they were near a school, when school was in session, do one at, 3 to 5 after school on a Wednesday, so think outside the box a little bit, because these are unusual times and nothing is normal. And I think people are starting to adapt to nothing is normal. So don't be afraid to do something else, and what I would love to see, we weren't able to do it this year. And some of you are newer, probably didn't hear about the Paint the Town Red. Paint the Town Red is in the spring, and we hold as many open houses as possible. And that's why they say paint the town red. You've got red open house signs, Keller Williams signs all over the place. So, get together with whoever has properties in the neighborhood you're going to do an open house, and, do them all. Do a poker run, make it fun for people. you know, to do something and to check out everybody's properties. So, all right.
It sounds
Well,
good. I've had buyers actually request to see the houses once the open house comes online.
mhm.
They wanted a showing before the open house to kind of get first chance to see the house.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
it's been that crazy.
Yes. Yes. What areas have you been doing them, Mark?
Out by Collins Lakes right now, and
Okay.
one in Vineland and another one in Franklinville.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, guys, like I said, I've gotten quite a bit of business from open houses, and it really pays off. But you got to get the prep in. Got to get the prep in. I even had one time. I was doing an open house in Northfield, and I had customers come in. They weren't interested in the open house. They were looking for a realtor. So I wound up selling them another house. They didn't even have any interest. They just were looking for a realtor. So, you know, anything can happen, especially these crazy times. So get out there, you know, show your clients that you care and you want to help them sell the house as quickly as possible. And because there is no inventory, I would do an open house as quickly as possible once you list that house. Okay. So that you can get one in, because things are moving quickly. And don't be afraid to go in Paragon and pull up the office inventory and reach out to agents, whether you know them or not, and ask them if you can do an open house on one of their listings. If they say no, don't be offended. There are agents that, you know, like myself, do a lot of business through open houses. So if inventory is low, they may not, you know, they may be doing it themselves. However, there's quite a few agents in all of our offices that would be more than happy to let you do that. Okay. So get out there and get some buyers, sell some houses. All right. All right. Well, thank you all. I appreciate your time today. And I hope that there was some value in what we've discussed. If you have any other questions or concerns or any other ideas that are successful for open houses, please let me know. And we'll be doing these sessions every so often, and we'll just keep incorporating what works and get everybody out there. So thanks, everybody, and have a great day.